Alright, so that is the first night playing Battlefield 5. It came out a day early, but we won't. We'll forgive EA for that, will we?
More or less. I'm so not complaining.
Yeah, what's everybody's thoughts so far?
To be honest, loving it. In comparison to our previous experience with Call of Duty, I'm actually really loving the changes, and it seems like it's much better than what the beta was, which is actually a godsend. Other than the ragdoll physics, I'm not really seeing too much to hate about the game.
The ragdoll physics a problem?
It's not a problem.
The ragdoll physics. It's awesome that it's terrible.
I mean, it's hilarious. It's just weird when you walk around a corner to see someone hovering with their back twitched up and just spiraling in place like a horror movie.
Yeah, ragdoll ain't the best.
You do get tricked a few times.
I mean, I shoot at the body and think, oh, my bullets passed through. Oh, you're dead.
Some of that's because they're not quite dead yet as well.
That or they died in a way that the game just couldn't understand as what would happen in war. But yeah, other than that, I really like the game.
Everybody else want to weigh in so far?
Delicious. I played
Delicious.
the first chapter of the campaign.
Well, yeah, Raymond, you're the only one that's touched any real campaign yet, from what I
Oh,
gather.
fuck. Really? Cool.
So, no spoilers,
So, spoiling the whole thing, I really liked it where Tinky Winky from the Teletubbies just like fucking did an ODST drop and curb stomped some Germans. Like, holy shit, I was not prepared.
wow.
The campaign is interesting in that you shoot things. It's like any other first-person shooter campaign, except this time they've slipped in a little bit of feels. In particular, there's a German guy in the first chapter who you don't find out what happens to him until the end of the campaign, but it's quite it gets to you. It's
Was it
honestly
tear
a little
jerking?
bit. It's honest. No, not tear dripping. Just a little bit. Honestly, just a little bit upsetting.
Oh, that's nice actually.
Poor Mr. German man. But they threw in a bit of daddy issues into the plot, which was nice because I like my gun games with plot, and I'm interested to see how chapters 2 and 3 go. In particular, I really want to see how the Norway chapter goes. I reckon that one's going to be good.
Yeah, because I noticed from the intro chapter that I did, a lot of the cutscenes had a lot of great detail put into them. Does that carry over in the story itself, or is it just for cinematics?
Well, bear in mind, I have everything set to the lowest graphics setting possible.
Fair.
It looks the same.
Looks the same? Okay,
For
so
me.
would you say that people have other expressions showing a lot of emotion, would you say, or?
If you've got a computer that can actually show the expressions and not mine who look a little bit doughy, yeah.
Nice. That's actually, yeah, because when I looked at that when I first loaded up the game, I actually was really hoping that they carried that over. Not necessarily, it doesn't need to be in the multiplayer, because realistically, you're not going to have long enough in the game to look at someone's face in detail, because if you do, you're probably dead.
Also,
Yes,
I'm so
I'm going
unhappy.
to stand here and just stare into your eyes.
I'm so unhappy right now, but I still need to damage 3 enemies with sticky dynamite.
It's fine.
I still haven't done that.
I hit like 5 people that game, and I still didn't get it. I'm heartbroken.
Just find 3 willing participants on the other team at some point.
Well,
you could probably,
I've
honestly,
unlocked
if you
the
ask
grenade
in
launcher
chat,
now, so
if you ask in chat, I'm sure someone would willingly walk in every time and just be like, you know what, buddy, 3 deaths,
He
I'm
literally
willing to
asked
help.
us, and we made sure that we res Nick the one time he did get him.
but I don't have to kill. I just have to damage.
Yeah, and he did blow
Maim
up
or
the ladder.
seriously injure.
I did destroy the
He
ladder.
blew up the ladder, so the next time I spawned in, I dropped and just lost like 80% of my health.
Good.
Ouch.
And there's
It's
no way to
deserving.
rebuild the ladder.
Oh dear.
What about you, Nick? What were your thoughts? You came in a little bit late.
It was good once I remembered how to shoot. That's the reason why. That's why I went sniper first up, because I figured if I can learn to shoot 1 bullet at a time, like 50 at a time should be, the next step.
I have to admit, I'd be the complete opposite. I would be thinking,
Yeah, no.
if I'm going to come into this with no knowledge of shooting, I'm going to spray that shit.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
pick the
I
LMG
want
and have
a
100 bullets
gun
in
with
the
a
clip.
lot of bullets and a lot of ability to just hold the trigger.
Yeah,
Actually, I suppose
Not a
in,
bolt action rifle.
No.
Luckily, the next one for the sniper, once you unlock level 2, is a non-bolt action rifle.
Yeah.
So
yes.
that it works much nicer. And now I put a massive scope on it, so now it looks sticky as hell, but I can shoot from range.
So what you're saying is your assault class has become a sniper class?
No, it's become like a Springfield rifle.
No, that is how it is.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, fair enough. What about you, Mark?
Yes.
What were your thoughts? I know you spent a lot of
it's pretty
time
good.
killing me.
I'm still pretty terrible at recon. I liked recon at that the mountainy snow one though, when you could hide a lot and there was a lot of range.
Oh, it was brilliant for
But
that.
other than that, I was
good.
constantly dying.
The mountain range map is honestly my favourite so far, followed closely by the one we just finished, the fields.
Yeah, I can't name a map so far that I'm unhappy with. It's in saying that though, we haven't gone back to Rotterdam and we haven't touched Hamada or Devastation or Aerodrome, so we've only played on half the maps after release, but we already know what Rotterdam's like.
Yes, I have a feeling I'm really not going to like Devastation simply because everything's already blown up.
I think I don't. The least favorite for me was the one we played in beta. The other one we played in beta, the
Rotterdam
The city
No,
or the...
or Narvik.
Narvik.
That's fair. Narvik,
Narvik, I
I-
don't mind. Narvik's not.
I started
too bad, isn't
Narvik as not liking it, and then we did a Grand Conquest on Narvik, and I liked it.
Yeah, the Grand Conquest on Narvik I liked, but that was because it doesn't have the same fixed feel that it does on the other.
Yeah.
Like, the bridge one we kept cycling around. It wasn't really stable as to who had the points. Whereas Narvik just feels like there's 2 points that each team basically has, and the other two just sort of flip around.
Yeah, well, there's always going to be one of the two really close to spawn that seems to just lock down, but that could have also been the player base we were playing with, because like that Aris or whatever it is, the big fields one at the end, like there's a point right in front of both sides spawn, so that should have been treated the same way, but it was also flipping back and forward a bit.
Yeah.
So
We lost that. We lost the D quite a lot of many times while I was fucking around in the church.
I got to admit, I really liked Fijal, or however the hell you want to pronounce that.
Mountain.
Yeah, the mountainy one. I thought that's a nice map in my opinion. Very interested to see how that plays on other game modes other than Conquest, though.
It has really fucking tight passages, and then you come out of that tight passage, and it's like, what the fuck? It's the side of an open field.
Yeah.
So I've spec'd for shotguns. Yeah, that's going to really help you when you come into the field. Good work.
That's where Mark shines with his recon for a change.
Yeah, well, that was a good part. It was just
Yeah, it had a bit of everything, really.
yeah.
Um,
There was
Except
so many.
tanks.
Yeah,
I
that
don't
was
think I've-
also a good thing.
Honestly, at level 1, not having tanks is a great thing. I'm happy with that.
Because we don't have. There's literally a class that's not available that is meant to deal with that.
yeah.
The only way I was dealing with tanks was rocket launchers from Assault.
And
Yeah.
the rocket launchers themselves, they're not that strong.
In saying that, though, like on the class thing, I'm very happy to see that they made it so that the starting weapons are quite strong contenders within the class.
As in, they've fully upgraded already.
Yeah, because the weapon itself's probably not that much ahead of anything else, but the fact that you start with a full set of perks and unlock the alternatives later for that first weapon, I think that's a really good move.
It is.
To go back to a very old standpoint, I think one of the strongest points Call of Duty 4 had, and I'm just going to use it as a comparison, I think a game that got a lot of that really well done, was if you dug into it, the starting weapons for COD 4 were actually technically the strongest. Not by an awful lot, but just enough that it meant that a complete newbie was still somewhat competitive. Like they still had that slight technical edge.
Yeah, but
because
the noob tube is better.
Yeah, but that was a starting weapon.
Exactly. Noob tube is king.
Like everything, all the starting gear in that game was the technically best gear, and I think we're seeing a very similar thing here. Of they've given the starting class builds enough versatility and decent enough quality stuff that you can actually still contribute. And even when most of the player base is much further down the levels, and that's part of the problem with a staggered release, that by the time that this comes out for people that aren't Premier members, a lot of those that were are going to be much higher levels. I already saw somebody tonight that was level 13.
Yeah, there was someone reporting, like, in the game, in the chat, someone saying that they're level 20. I'm like, dude, I'm fucking level 3.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
By the time that this comes out for main release for everybody else, like those that just wanted to buy the game and not the entire rest of EA's library, like, we're going to be a fair distance ahead, and it's going to be good that those that come in then will be able to start with a full set of perks and not just be outright 20% weaker.
Yeah, it's very much appreciated. I think it's a really good game design idea.
Yeah, certainly can't go wrong.
Yeah, I've been looking at the other guns as I unlock them, and I'm like, I still don't want to change off of my Steam, even though the Steam is garbage. I hate it. It's currently still the best one for me.
I suspect that's going to change, though, as you go through, that each of them will start doing something stronger. Like that second gun had a much higher rate of fire, even though everything else was much worse, but that could also be that we don't have the perks for it, and the perks compensate for that. So it might be a case of you decide, hey, I want a gun with a really high fire rate, so I'm going to invest the time into actually leveling up that particular gun.
Did anyone have a fair go at support?
Yeah. No, I didn't.
I had a fair bit of a go, and it
wasn't Nick saying... Sorry.
It didn't feel the same as beta. It felt like more useless.
I think the ammo situations just changed the emphasis on needing support. The simple fact that everybody starts with an extra magazine now has made that support is no longer so insanely critical.
Support feels better when you start building stuff.
Yeah, it's all about the building and just making your own little fort.
Yeah, like it was only really necessary for recon, or if you stayed live long enough trying to hold a base.
Yeah.
Thing is, most people just die anyway before they need to reload.
Yeah. That Anton, I don't know how much of the beta you played, but that definitely wasn't the way the beta felt, because you only had what was the bullets in the gun plus one mag in the beta, so you would be out after 2 firefights.
I think where supply was coming in handy was with like assaults, explosives, and restocking those.
Oh my god.
Actually, the little bit I played as support, what I found worked really well, and this was actually on Twisted Steel that we played it in, it was being able to, after we took a point, just being able to sit on the bridge, and because of the stability of the assault rifles, and they all have bipods on them,
yeah,
just being able to hold that bridge really effectively, like just spew bullets.
Yeah.
Like you basically, if you're just trying to hold a point, you basically have a mounted gun wherever you go. And I think that might be where support ends up shining off. It's a good defense hold 1 point sort of class, where if you've got some sort of choke point to work with.
Yeah.
If you like actually thinking about it, for Zhao, that mountaintop one, maybe with all those tight corridors, it would have been a really good one for trying to hold some of those points on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's just where support's going to end up now, because like, if you look at it, if you don't have a vehicle-heavy map, support's basically better assault.
Yeah, that's true. Because assault's built around explosives. Like,
well, yeah, but if you don't have a map that works well with a rocket launcher,
anything works well with the rocket launcher if you try hard enough.
Yeah, but like, if you're relying on the gun on assault, then the support guns all outpace it, and you have much greater ammo yourself.
Yeah.
Support also had the AT mines if you timed that properly with a tank.
Yeah, so I think support's more of a dig in and defend 1 point style class now rather than a run and gun, which is admittedly I think how all of us were playing.
Yeah. We weren't really locking in, or if we were... I think Anton was locking in a little bit.
I spent more time running and stabbing people with a needle, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I was playing medic most of the time.
I really enjoy walking up to people and injecting myself into them.
And if it's a close range fight, like, I don't actually mind that weapon. It's pretty good.
Yeah, if it's just ultra close range, like in your face, and medium long range, it's garbage. You're better off using the noob tube.
How did people find the planes? I didn't actually use any planes that time.
Oh my god, they're fucking unwieldy, ungainy, and I accidentally had my inverted driving on.
I hate the fact
flew
that
into a mountain.
You've got to unlock the other types of planes.
What other types of planes are there?
Better.
The bomber.
Yeah, the Allies get like 4 different types of fighters and a bomber, and the Germans get 3 different types of fighters and 2 bombers.
Yeah, but a bomber's at least useful.
If you know how to fly it.
I was okay
seeing
with
as
flying,
I
it's
got
just,
wrecked.
I felt like fighters were just useless.
On that mountaintop, there was one guy with a bomber who just decimated our line multiple times. I want to be him. I want to be that guy.
Can be.
But also, they're really hard to fly. You have to check the sensitivity so high.
Well, clearly some people have already mastered it, because while we were playing the yellow fields and I was in the church bell tower sniping people, I was having a lot of fun until some guy did like several bombing runs and actually managed to hit the church quite a few times and eventually killed me.
Fucking
yeah.
Is that the same guy who broke the ladder?
There are some guys that get scary good at the aircraft really early on.
Yeah.
I feel like the way planes are done in this game is pretty much the same as Battlefield 1.
Yeah, I gotta admit, the playing, like, okay, admittedly I haven't really played a Battlefield aggressively since 3, sort of 4, but it's... I gotta admit, I was expecting them to handle much closer to 1942 actually, and it feels like they're handling closer to 4.
Yeah, it was
like,
a very similar thing.
I think there's a lot more of it's the modern engine for the plane mechanics coming through rather than it's the old like planes designed more reflective of the previous World War II games.
Yeah. Because you're not going to rewrite the game physics for planes that you've had for the past three games that have been locked down.
I mean, and don't get me wrong, I can complain about them from dusk to dawn, but they work, and they work well. It's just really bloody hard to fly.
Yeah, it feels very different to basically anything else you'll play.
Yeah.
I've flown a lot of planes in my day.